Hey there, this is Jamie Russo. I'm the CEO of Everything Coworking and the host of the podcast by the same name. I am here to talk to you about the best way to market your co-working business when you're just starting out. This question came up in the Facebook group. If you're not in our Facebook group yet, you can find us. It's called Everything Coworking. Super simple. So this is a question I get asked a lot, and this is a challenging question right now. So we are in a pandemic and numbers have spiked, and we are not in control of demand, right? So some of the struggles, if you're watching this in December when I'm recording it, is about timing. So typically November, December, lower search volume in general. People are busy with holidays and all the things that happen with holidays and family commitments, et cetera. They're not searching for office space as much as they are during the rest of the year. So it's a lower demand time anyway. And then given all of the numbers that are spiking around the US and outside of the US, that's going to be a challenge as well. So what we can do is kind of put our heads down and focus on the basics. So generally, your best leads are going to come from when I talk about the basics, think about your sales funnel and make sure it is locked down. So make sure you know who you're serving and that your website speaks directly to that target customer. So whatever it is about you that is special, if you're serving a more professional member, if you're serving a more creative member, if you're serving a more community-focused member, whatever it is that you think the members are going to love about you, make that clear on your website, but talk about it in their language. They don't actually care about you and why you started your business. They want to know how you're solving a problem for them. So make it super clear and speak in language that speaks directly to them, because most of your leads are going to come through your website or they're going to come through your Google My Business listing. So don't take the eye off the ball on these fundamentals. Make sure your website has the right messaging, the right images. One of the things that's come up, we've been running sessions for the GWA conference. We cannot over communicate about safety. That may not be what we put in our ads. We may not be messaging in ads about safety, but on our website, we want to make sure that our COVID policies are front and center, that we have images of folks that are distanced and have masks on our website. We may not have that take over our homepage, but people are really sensitized depending on the market that you're in, but certainly in some areas of the country, to be looking for those things. So if you think that that would have an impact, make sure you're updating messaging, make sure there's a pop-up on your homepage that talks about your safety protocols. We are hopefully getting closer to times where we're phasing out of that, but we are not there yet, right? Vaccines going to start rolling out, but masks are still required. I'm in California. We've gone back to practically a stay-at-home requirement. So don't stop messaging about safety. Especially for that work from home crowd who's used to a corporate environment. They are used to all the protocols being in place, all the things. And so they have a frame of reference that is very conservative. So make sure you don't stop talking about those things until it's really, really time to stop talking about those things. So website, and then your Google My Business listing, make sure to invest in that. I talk about it all the time, but it's so easy to take our eye off the ball when we're, stressed about demand not coming in and not having as many members in our space. If you have members in your space that are loving on you because you're open for them, ask them for a review. The Google algorithm likes activity on that listing. So many spaces will get 20 times the traffic to their Google My Business listing than they get to their website. So you absolutely must pay attention to this listing. Upload photos, even if you're just cycling through photo shoot photos and you don't have lots of exciting photos from the space these days, but change them up. Put special offers on your listing and make sure you're getting reviews at least once a month on the reviews, but you should be updating that listing once a week. So keep your eye on the basics: website, Google My Business listing. I would be careful about paid ads right now, but starting in January, paid ads is the other marketing tactic that likely will work for you if you're in a market with competition. If you're in a market where you're new and you're educating, then it may not make sense to run ads. If you're already popping up as one of the top 3 to 5 in organic search results, then it may be hard to prove that there's an ROI for Google ads. But here's the thing to remember. Active searchers are on Google, right? They're on Google, Google My Business. They're finding your website through either organic results or ad results. And if your SEO is not, if you're not in the top 3 organic search results, when someone searches for co-working in Kansas City, for example, then you need to pay Google to put you further up in those listings, or else people won't find you until your organic search results start kicking in and you go further up on that list. But that takes time, and that's what you should be doing right now. But if you don't have a marketing budget for Google, think about allocating one, because that is going to be the fastest way to get new folks in the door, because you'd be capturing active searchers at that point. So ad budget is important. Your Google My Business listing, making sure you have the right messaging. Social media can certainly be a part of your marketing mix, and it may be more important if you're in a smaller market and you're educating. So I have a co-working startup school member in Clovis, New Mexico, which is a very small town. She's right on Main Street, and she's very active in social media. It would make no sense for her to run a Google ad. She's doing some work on Facebook, may test some Facebook ads to get in front of more folks, but she's very active in social media and engaging with other local businesses and building that word of mouth. But she's also right on Main Street. So she's focusing on signage and making sure that the local community is aware of her and building that word of mouth power. And then eventually the other kind of lever that people pull is to get people in the space through events. We're not likely there in most markets. So events is a tricky one. You can try virtual events. We were on a GWA session yesterday, and one of the panelists said they're in Mexico, and I can't remember how many virtual webinars. He said they'd run hundreds and had thousands and thousands and thousands of people attend them. So if that's kind of in your wheelhouse to be doing virtual events, you could do that to generate awareness in the local community. But really, you want to make sure website, messaging, images are on point so that when folks come to your website, they're converting into a tour. Start tracking those metrics so that you know when you're getting some improvement. Google My Business listing, paid ads, I would start with Google versus Facebook. Facebook has its place. I did a podcast episode recently about attracting the work from home audience. They're not solution aware, so they're not searching, but those folks are going to take longer to attract and educate. So if you're looking to get people in the space right away, Google is going to be the place to go. And then continuing to work on your SEO and planning ahead. You could start planning ahead for the time when you can run events and get them into the space. But really, it's a tough time. You really just have to focus on the fundamentals and keep your eye on those. When you feel like you spent all the time you can on the fundamentals, then look for some other creative ways to generate awareness and other advertising opportunities. One of my flight group members bought ad space on the grocery cart slot, which I thought was really creative. She's giving it a try. I'll have to check with her to see how it worked. But she was like, look, it's right in my neighborhood. All of my members are from the neighborhood. And so it makes perfect sense as an advertising outlet. So you can certainly get creative, but not until you've done the fundamentals. So I'm going to wrap up there. If you have any other questions or comments on this topic, would love to see that in the comments.